Hi, I'm Bob Blum, and I'm a professor and head of the Department of Population, Family, and Reproductive Health at Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. And thank you very much for doing this interview. We met a couple of days ago at the International Conference on Family Planning in Dakar, and for me it was an extraordinary experience. So I'm thrilled, Mae, that you've agreed to participate in this interview. Let me just first ask you to introduce yourself and what you're doing and why you're here in Dakar, and then we can go from there.
Well, thank you, Dr. Blum. I'm Mae Azango. I'm from Liberia. I'm a journalist working for the Front Page Africa newspaper online, and we have an online website, www.frontpageafricaonline.com. I usually report human interest issues affecting women, children, and even ordinary people. I like to do that. So my journalism, developmental journalism as well, because I feel that if I don't go down to the ordinary people, who will hear them? They also got a story. But if I don't go to them, nobody will hear them. So that's why I chose that field. I don't like politics now. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And so the other day you were interviewing me, and in the process you just shared a little bit of your experience, and I said if you would be willing, your story and your experience is one that people who are going to work with adolescents, people who work in Africa or are going to work in Africa, need to know, and they need to hear it, and they need to hear it firsthand. So thanks for doing this. Start at the beginning. Start at growing up in Liberia during the time of the Civil War. What was your world like as a child, as an adolescent? What were your experiences like?
Well, growing up as a child, I was one of the youngest in the house. Okay, I was the smallest. And then,
how many were in the house?
We were 6, but I was the youngest. Had some big brothers and sisters, along with my mother and father. And then, as the years went by, at the age of 13, I started to receive my menses. And then I came home from school this day, before recess period, and then my brother was home, my oldest brother, and then he said, "Oh, you ran away from school. I'm going to report you to mommy." I said, "No, I did not run away. Something is happening to me. I don't understand." Then he asked me, what's that? I said, "Oh, I saw something," and I described it to him and said, "Okay, go inside, I don't want to talk about it. But wait for mommy when she comes and you tell her." I said, "Okay." And then when mommy came home that evening, I went to her. "Mommy, I've seen my period," because she told me before, because I was growing so fast, she asked me before then, when I was at the age of 12, she said, "Are you seeing your period?" I said, "What's that?" And then she explained it to me. So when this day came, I went and told her, "Oh, mommy, I'm seeing my period." Okay, that's how she broke it down for me. And then she said, "Okay, Mae, I got 1 or 2 things to tell you. When you start to see your period, as soon as you lie down with a man, you get pregnant." That's all mommy told me. My mother was an educator. She was a professor at the university. But explaining with her child about sex education in Liberia, in Africa, is a taboo. So all she told me, when I lie down with a boy, I get pregnant. That's all. So I wanted answers. Why would I get pregnant when I lie down with a boy? I sometimes sleep with my brother, I don't get pregnant. So anyway, at the age of 13, I just kept wondering. When I got at the age of 16, I was curious. When I go to school, I see the big girls talking. They will always sit in a group to talk. When I get there, they say, oh, go away, you are a little girl. You don't have a boyfriend. And we are only talking about boyfriend talk. You're not supposed to hear because you are a child. They will call me small girl. Oh, it will make me angry. They say, if you don't want to be called a small girl, get a boyfriend. And that's what I did. Because they kept calling me small girl and I didn't want to be called small girl, I went to look for boyfriend. That's my peer group. Encouraged me to find a boyfriend. Now, I found this boyfriend. And when I come, oh, I said, I got boyfriend too. Have you done the thing? I said, what thing? You say, you still small girl. Go back. So I was curious, okay? And then, one day, my boyfriend invited me over because his house is not far from mine. His father went off, my mother went to work, and he sent a little boy to call me. I went there, and we all were. And he invited me into his room. He wanted to touch me. I said, no. Mommy said when I lie down with a boy, I will get pregnant. He said, but you can lie down in bed. I said, no. He said, okay. Lie down with me, you won't get pregnant. Just lie down with me. And I lied down with him because I wanted to be big. And I wanted to know. So I lied down with him, we just talked that day. And then before I left, he asked me, now you lie down with me, are you pregnant? I said, no. He said, you see, your mother was lying to you. So you can come back tomorrow. The next day I didn't go, the following day I went. But this time, he wanted to take my clothes off. And I told him, no. Mommy said, he said, oh, leave mommy out of this. You see, that is why I didn't want to come around you in the first place. He's talking to me now. That's why I don't like little girls. I wanted to go to the big girls. You told me you were a big girl. Now you're not behaving like a big girl. If you are a big girl, you will let me touch you. You will let me take your clothes off. But you're a little girl, so if you are not ready, you can leave. I'll go and get a bigger guy. I say, oh, I'm a big girl. Come. And that's how he had sex with me. Because I wanted to be big. And I wanted to know what's lying down with men who make me pregnant. I didn't know. If mommy had only educated me that when you do this, you do this, you do this, nothing. So I went to seek answers. And then, not more than 3 times or so, I went to his house. When the month came to an end, I missed my period. And I went to mommy. Because I was naive at the age of, when I went to him, I was about 17, going on 18. So, when I missed my period, mommy took me to the hospital. I was about 18 almost. And the doctor said I was pregnant. She said, May, who did it? I said, who did what? Who got you pregnant? Who did you sleep with? I said, well, mommy, I only sleep with you because I used to sleep with her. And then she said, come on, you know I didn't do anything to make you pregnant, so what? So she said, who did bad thing to you? That's how she put it. I said, my boyfriend. And then she said, you are pregnant. Now that you know you are pregnant, and I know, you won't have an abortion. I didn't know about abortion. I didn't know about contraceptive. I didn't know anything. I was just naive. And then she said, you will keep this pregnancy. And if you do keep it, and you give birth to this child, you will learn from your mistakes. Because I wouldn't mind your child. I'm not willing to be a grandmother so early. I got work to do. But you will cater to your child. Everything else, you're no longer a child. She told me that as long as you have given birth, you're no longer a child, or you are pregnant, we are 2 women. Because you are about to be a mother. That's what she told me at the age of 18. 17 going on 18. So I got there, and then when it was time for me to give birth, the war came. The war started 1989, and then once I was about 17 going on 18, and then the war The actual war came when the rebels entered where I lived. I lived in the outskirts of Monrovia, Painesville, an area called Painesville. Outside Monrovia, I think about 20 minutes drive or 25 minutes drive. So I was about to give birth, and then the war came. The rebels entered my area July 2nd. Charles Taylor rebels entered July 2nd. And I gave birth August 3rd, 1 month. So I was about 8 months pregnant when the rebels came. That was a different hassle. And then when it was time for me to give birth, when the rebels came, all of the hospitals were closed. All of the clinics were closed. All the medical practitioners had ran away, running for their lives, because the rebels were killing. So everybody fled. My mother and I, my father, we stayed there. And then when it was time for me to give birth, I walked around all day looking for somebody to assist me. The first lady we went to, she said, "Oh, I did it long years ago. I don't have the equipment, so I can't help you." And then a boy came up and said, "Oh, I know a traditional midwife that you can go to." And then we walked about 30 minutes to a village in Painesville, in the back part of Painesville, called Town. It's a Bassa town. They have the Bassa local language. And then met this old lady. She was a traditional midwife. And then they took me to her. She tested me the way she knew to test me. And then she said I was not ready, but I'll be ready soon. On that night, it rained cats and dogs. And then the soldiers were shooting. I mean, they were shooting so much. The gunfire, they were raining down gunshots, because they said some enemy were trying to infiltrate, according to them. Oh, they were looting. So when they are looting, they will shoot all night and morning. So I had to give birth. We had to go in a room. She took along with her an older woman and a young lady, along with herself and me. Locked the door. It was about 10, 11 in the night, because I stayed in pain a long time. And then when I was about to give birth, then she told me to push. I pushed the baby out, and then the placenta, or the afterbirth, or how people call it, the placenta wouldn't come out. That bag that the baby is always in, it wouldn't come out. It was in me. And then she told me push, it wouldn't come out. And I was exhausted from pushing. So she said rest. When I tried again, it couldn't come out. She said, "You know why it's there?" I said, "No." She said, "You have to confess." Confess what? She said, when you were pregnant, or before you got pregnant, you had an extramarital affair, or you had an affair with someone else. So you have to confess this gentleman's name before the placenta will come out. You have to confess. I'm going through complications. I'm dying because I bled. The whole room of blood. I bled profusely. I was still bleeding, and she told me, confess. I said, I don't know anybody to confess. I don't know any name. And then she took her slippers, the other lady took the switch, and they started beating my legs to confess. Beating my legs to confess. Confess. You have to confess. Confess. You have to confess that man's name. Oh. And then she gave me a tablespoon or 2 of kerosene to drink. She said it will help the placenta to come out. At that time, I was desperate. I wanted to leave from that agony because I was tired, so I drank it. And still the placenta wouldn't come out. And then she called a man in the Bassa language. His name is Jacob. She told him, Jacob. Jacob came to the door. In the front part of the door, he was outside, behind closed door. And she said, this girl had to confess. So she told me, call the man's name. I looked in the city and just made up a name and gave it to her, because I wanted to end my agony. And then she called Jacob across the closed door or behind closed door and said, she was sitting in a room and she yelled, Jacob, she has given a name, and the guy name is, she called some name, I just forgotten the name I gave her, because I was so, and then Jacob knocked some cups together, said some incarnation, did all kind of things and said, oh, the gods have forgiven her, but they said she shouldn't do it again. The gods said they have heard her cry, and they have heard her plea, and they heard her confession, which is good. And she should go ahead, but she shouldn't do it again. So the placenta will come out. So she turned around to me, you are lucky. The medicine man said the placenta will come out. Yes. And then after just maybe a few minutes, the placenta came out. And then she said, you see, you confessed, that's why it came out. And by the time it came out, I passed out completely. I fainted. I didn't know what was going on again. All I could remember, they were wasting water on me to bring me through. Because the blood, the whole room was bloody. And that's whoa. No medical person around, no hospital. Just a step away from dying. And then she told me, May, this place is bloody, you have to get up so we can wipe it out and move on the other side. When I woke up, I dropped because the whole room was paining. No blood. As soon as I woke up, decided to take few steps, I dropped. What happened? I said, I can see the place is dark. I can see my eyes are swinging. And she and the other lady helped me. They took me on the other side. And that's how I went through that. The next day, she started to bring a lot of different leaves, herbs, potato greens to help with iron and all of that. But I'm only saying this to say that as an adolescent at that age, what I went through, girls my age at that time are still going through it in the villages in Liberia. Because no hospitals around them. Some of them have to walk 5 hours before they reach to the nearby clinic. Some of them will die on the road. Some of them will give birth on the road. And just name it. And then they don't have anybody else to run to but a traditional midwife who believe in myth or culture or tradition. Yeah. That you have to confess. A young mother is dying and you're telling her about confession? Obviously, when a woman is giving birth, you expect complications. Various kinds of complications. I just had one complication, but in her belief, because that's what she saw her older people do, or generation to come, decades. That's what she saw her grandmother do, her mother do, so she practiced the same thing, passed on from one generation to another. You have to confess. And doing that, a lot of girls die in Liberia. So that's the reason I won this Pulitzer Award when it came on the net and talking about reproductive health. And they asked me why. Why do I want to talk about reproductive health among young girls? Why? And then I gave them my story. Because a lot of girls go through this. Some of them, the child will even die. Then they have to go and try the following year. The child will die again, or they die. Yeah. So fistula in Liberia has become a household disease. Because the traditional midwives, what they do, sometimes they're about 3 or 4. They don't wear gloves. When you are about to give birth, they want to know whether you are ready. They just come and push their hand in you, just that. This other person will leave, another woman will come and do the same. And this one will come, you ready, push their hand in you. Infection. Some of them will tear the wall between the vagina and the rectum. And that's just a big opening. So a lot of women go through this. They go through fistula. Fistula is like a household thing in Liberia. Caused by these things the traditional midwife do. So.
How common is female genital cutting?
Oh, oh, that's a whole new ball game. I was surprised to come to to Senegal, and I heard that it is now passed into law or something that it should stop it. Oh, I wish it could happen in Liberia, but it can't. Because the people are so glued to tradition and culture. People should leave it. Leave tradition as it is. That's what they tell us, even if we want to ask them questions. I did a story on a lady who went through this at a very early age. But she was affected. She was affected to the extent that when she got married, in fact, when she got married, that when it happened to her, she was married, happily married with 2 children. This woman was bitter. When I met her to talk with her, she was bitter, bitterly against this, because she's personally living a bitter life as I speak to you. She was married. She had 2 girls. And then her mother came from the northern part of Liberia, where my father come from. They call it Lofa. Way in the north. She came to her and told her she came to get her to go and bury her grandmother. Her grandmother had died. And she told her husband to look after the 2 children. She was going because the children were in school. But she would go for maybe a week and come. She packed her things and went with her mother. Though her grandmother died, but that was not the reason her mother took her there. Her mother had committed a major offense in the village that she had to pay by bringing her first daughter to join the Sunday bush where they do the cutting. They call it the Sunday Society. She went and she told the people in the Sunday bush, my daughter will go for water. On her way for water, you people should hide in the bushes and grab her. When she's going, I will come and tell you people. So she told her daughter to go the next day to get water so they would wash. And the lady was going, and then she told the people, and the people went and grabbed her daughter. This lady yelled. She shouted. Nobody came to her aid. They took her and carried her in the sandy bush. And they cut her, a woman who has had 2 children. Cut her because of culture and tradition. Because the mother had to appease the gods for the crime she committed at the detriment of her daughter. When she was finished, she stayed there maybe a couple of weeks, and then she decided to go back home. She was angry when she came out, and the mother said, oh, you know, this one happened, and she explained to her, but she didn't tell her daughter when she came to Monrovia. So both of them came. She was bringing her daughter back to the husband. She, the mother, was given a guest room. The daughter, who had just come back, the husband was so happy to see his wife after so many weeks, or maybe a month or 2. He was happy because he missed her so much. So they went to bed that night. But she said they made fuss the whole night when he found out that she was caught. And he told her to leave the room and go sleep with her mother. She went to sleep with her mother, and the next morning he called the mother. She told me her husband called the mother and told the mother, why did you bring a handicap to me? My wife was okay when you took her from here. Now you have made her a handicap, then you brought her to me. What I enjoy most, you took it out. So what do I want to do with her? Nothing. Take her and carry her back. I don't want her. But my 2 children, I will keep them. Because if I leave them with her, you will take my 2 girls and carry them to the same place you took her. So my 2 girls will stay with me. Took his 2 girls, sent his 2 children in America to his sister. As I speak to you, this woman does not speak with her children. She does not even know their whereabouts. The man does not want to be bothered with her. He got angry, and that was stopped or ended her marriage right there and then. Because of the sin of her mother, she went through that. So she told me, she said, I would like to tell other young girls not to do it, not to go there, because I'm suffering, I'm dying. I wonder when I'm dead, who will bury me? I don't know my children, I don't know where they are. And their father won't tell me anything. All he told me, your children in America, and that's all. But I pray one day they come to me. This is the issue in Liberia that goes on. It is a taboo. It is a taboo. Because I talked with my friend, another girl who went in the sandy bush and came out. Before Christianity went to them, she was in the interior, she said, before Christianity came to her, and she knew all about Christianity, they didn't believe in all these things. All they know, culture and tradition. And then she told me the reason why she's talking it because she has been converted to a Christian, so she's living back her past life. And she explained to me that she was taken in the sandy bush at an early age. And they caught her 2 times. Because she said when they caught her the first time, after a few months, the woman would always come and check, the matron. And then they found out she was growing, her clitoris was maybe coming up. They caught her again, 2 times. But she said when they do it, she told me what happened in the sandy bush. She said, they will cut the clitoris and they will use one knife, or maybe 20 or more girls. One knife or razor blade, any sharp object, they will use only a single one. They don't know about AIDS and other things, so they will use these things and cut the women. Someone will die from infection. She said when they cut her, they took the clitoris and put it in a big bowl with rice and red oil, and they ate. Early stage of cannibalism. They ate one another clitoris and swore, made an oath that when I voice it out, I will die. They would take the blade, the woman, she said the lily would come to your throat and say, as I've eaten this, whatever I did here, whenever I voice it off, I will die. This razor blade I cut here, this knife, they should slice my throat, and then what will happen? So for that reason, they took the clitoris, gave it to them to eat. They ate the clitoris, and they came outside. Do you know that these girls go through this all the time? She said, Mae, that's the only secret. And they have made it a part of our mind. We have been indoctrinated that when we talk, we will die. So it's an oath. This woman that talked to me, she said, I cannot talk in my village. They will kill me. Yeah, because I'm exposing them. So it's an oath. It's a taboo. Many women in the government, in high places, ministers, they went through this. So they don't want to stop it because they stay holding on to culture. When I went to interview my gender minister, she kicked against it. She said, I won't talk to you. You people should leave culture and tradition. Our people now complaining, why should you people complain? She went through it too. So she still hold on to it. And she doesn't even want to talk about it. She insults you when you even go to ask her, oh no. She gets so angry. And a lot of other women like her. So to eradicate it from Liberia, no. Oh, it might take maybe 25 or 30 years. Because when Ellen came to power, when we went to the village to interview women, they said Ellen said she wants to close the Power and Senate Society, and we told her if she does, we won't vote for her. And all the women in the village said not voting for Ellen, she won't win. She won't. So Ellen let go. She rests on. She lay it aside for now. But I don't know what she's planning to do. But they told Ellen that's our culture and our tradition that our people left with us. This is the only way we can train our girls. So we've been writing stories that people are saying they should move the cutting aspect. You can leave the other part there, teaching the woman how to take care of her home, how to cook, take care of her children, and all of that. But that part, the cutting part, take it from there, they say no. The society is not bad. They teach the women a lot of things, but that aspect, they won't take it from them. That makes it bad.
So why do you think that in a place like Senegal, where there also has been a pretty strong culture of cutting, that they could decide to pass a law? But do you think, what would it take for it to change in Liberia?
Senegal, the president is very gender sensitive. That's one. Two, and the rate of the literacy rate and the literacy rate and illiteracy rate in Senegal. The literacy rate, I think, is okay, but in Liberia, compared to Liberia, the illiteracy rate is at 70. They are not educated, so they still hold on to this. A lot of people in Senegal, I believe, are educated, so they will let go easily. Then number two, what even made it worse for Liberia, we went through war. We went through war. And when the children were not going to school, their parents took them and carried them in the village and took them to these societies. Yeah. War is because of many other things happening. Rape was not like the way it is in Liberia. They're raping 3-year-old. They're raping 3-month-old babies. They're raping 4-month-old baby. Every day you go to the court, 3 years, 2 months. I mean, those men are insane, you will say, but that's the act of war. When you are from war, what happened? The country is crowded with a lot of ex-combatants. Their mind, after the war, the funny thing about it, we are all traumatized people. I'm traumatized because we didn't have people to come and counsel us. So a lot of people are still traumatized from the war. One way or another. Somebody died from you, or somebody was killed right before your eye, or something. So everybody traumatized. So you expect it to happen. The men are raping these little girls without any remorse of conscience. Nothing. A 12-year-old girl was raped the other day. The reason I did that story, I was so angry. I was angry as a journalist, and I was angry as a woman. This girl was raped by a 20-some-more-year-old man at the age of 12. When the mother took the case to the police station, they told her to go and register her case. On her way upstairs, her friend saw her and asked her, "What are you going to do upstairs? Have you fought with somebody?" She said, "No, my daughter was raped." And then the police officer standing by, a police officer, he asked her, "You sure your daughter didn't ask for it?" So she said she got angry and she told the man, "Seems to be you are a rapist, because you're thinking like him. Why would you utter those words to me? I'm already hurt." Another policeman standing there got angry and slapped her. "Why would you talk to my boss that way? Don't you know he's my boss? And you talking to him like that?" She said, "I don't care who he is." Those utterances that came from his mouth, not supposed to come from there. If you know you're a policeman. Oh, another officer came. They were 3. They beat that woman and put her in jail for 3 days. Her daughter at home unattended to after being raped. They threw the woman behind bars. The only person that freed her was a lady who she buys water from and do business in a woman's place. The woman went to free her when she sent message after 3 days. And then the woman got in touch with my boss and my boss told me we should go and talk with the woman. When I went to talk to her, she said the policeman told her, "Who do you think you are? Who know you? Nobody know you. But you think you are a frisky and hot woman who will put you in your place. Nobody know you. Who cares about you?" So I told her, "Oh, he uttered those words to you?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, somebody will care for you. You have told me, right? Somebody will care for you." So another journalist called Ichi and I, an American lady, she went there, a girl, and we went to the police station to talk with these police people and ask, and they said they can't talk unless we go to the spokesman who are not there when the thing happened. How can a spokesman for the police talk about something he doesn't know about? How? So, for that reason, we interviewed him. What he told us, he's supposed to talk on behalf of the officers. Just what happened, they trailed us from pillar to pole. We went aboard and did our story. On the 26th, our Independence Day of Liberia, Eddie invited other guests. African presidents went there. They went to Lofa, where I was telling you about the North, for the independence celebration. My newspaper is the only paper that circulated and reached that far. On the 27th or the 28th, she's sitting with her friends. That newspaper came in the hall. The title of the story was Rape Injustice. Oh yeah. When Ellen read it, she called the police director. The police director called his deputy because it was hot on the backs. "Oh, somebody's going to lose their job." That's what the deputy said. I said, "Well, you have to go and investigate your officers. You can't hold me responsible. I'm only reporting what I know." Because when you go there, they don't want to talk to you. But when that story came up, it was too demeaning, so shameful. Ellen said, something has to be done. When this guy raped this little girl, he was walking around free for 1 month. Nobody had arrested him. Police did not go there. They just left it. Raped the girl in June 28th. He was arrested July 28th. I will never forget. On the 26th, the papers got there, the 27th. The 28th, Ellen put pressure behind the director that they send police officers that they should have done 1 month ago. But because the president talked, so they were so hard to do it. They went and apprehended the guy and took him to court. But why wait for 1 month for me to report before you know? So I should tell you how to do your job. So they got vexed with me, but what I care? I report what I saw. If you knew you want, at least you should have come to us and tell us, and we were coming to see what we could do. I said no. At the detriment of a child who had not been treated from rape, then you're telling me I should compromise? No, I can't. That child is suffering. If I don't talk for her, who will talk for her? Who will hear her? Because of that, several people came in to render assistance to the girl. She's now on a mission. A man pays her school fee, and the other guy said he will be responsible to send her to college because he wants her to be a female activist. Yes, this 12-year-old girl, it didn't stop there. The police officer raped a 38-year-old police officer, raped a 13-year-old girl. And because he was an officer, so he stayed for 3 months. Nobody picked up the case. And he will boast in the area, I'm a police officer. Unless I'm not a police officer, it's the only way somebody will pick up this or do anything to me. When the woman came to me, I told her, I said, don't worry. Somebody will know you. He will be arrested. Because when I'm finished writing a story, he will be arrested. Oh yeah. I wrote the story. He was off for 3 months. Nobody touched him for 3 months. When I wrote the story, 3 days later, he was arrested. Because they called the police and questioned them. Why? Men boasting. No rule of law in Liberia again? No. They called him. And then the police chief got on radio and was posting how good his police service and blah blah blah. The police are there for the people. And then a caller call him and ask, what happened to the 13-year-old girl that was raped by a police officer? Oh, the man has been caught. When the man was not caught, I said, oh, Monday morning you will see a story that this man is still walking around. But Saturday, they arrested him and called me straight. Mae Azango, yeah, okay, we just caught the police officer. He's now in police custody and we'll go to court Monday. Oh, it changed the story. Because that police officer or the police boss would have lost his job then a few days ago when he lost it anyway. Yeah, he would have been gone a long time ago. Why would you do that? But they caught that guy and he's in jail. And the mother of this girl called me the other time and said, the family of the officer are still threatening her. So she had to run from her home to go move to another place because they told her, you put our son in jail. So they threatened to kill her and do a whole lot of things. So she had to move. So these are stories I like. These are stories I do to change the lives of people. I don't like politics, no. A lot of people are in need that people need to hear about. Oh, George Weah won't be president. Ellen Johnson win the second term. That is secondary to me. I'm talking about the ordinary Liberians. How they live, what they eat, how they feel, what they go through. They got stories.